Okay, so Bournemouth are basically safe now. They've beaten Leeds by 4 goals to 1 and they've essentially secured their place in next season's Premier League. They've got 39 points now, won 6 of their last 9 games under Gary O'Neill's guidance, and to be honest, I just mainly wanted to make this video just to praise Bournemouth and give them their flowers, because I don't think Bournemouth are going to get enough credit, and Gary O'Neill especially, and these players, are going to get enough credit for what they've done and what they've achieved this season, because it's absolutely mind-boggling if you think about it. The fact that Bournemouth, let alone are safe, but are safe with 4 games left to go. I mean, most people, 99% of people, myself included, wrote Bournemouth off before they even kicked the ball this season, and now they're 13th in the Premier League, could easily finish mid-table. I know that's mainly down to the fact that most of the bottom half teams have been extremely poor and have been sucked into a real relegation battle this season, but nevertheless, Bournemouth have essentially secured their survival with 4 games to go, which is absolutely ridiculous. Like I said, given how written off they were at the start of the season, and up until very recently were still written off by absolutely everyone. And that's one thing I will say, is that me, alongside obviously 99% of football fans before the season started, said Bournemouth were pretty much shoo-ins for relegation. But one thing I will say from my perspective is I was one of the first people that said Bournemouth would survive this season, to be honest, and it just goes to show how written off they were, because it took me till 26 or 27 games into the season to actually think and believe that Bournemouth could stay up this season. And I was one of the first people that said they'd stay up, because I just thought they were looking so dangerous to play against. I think Gary O'Neill has them set up absolutely brilliantly in a direct style of football that soaks up pressure and hits teams on the break with players that are so effective in doing that, like your Dom Solankis, your Dango Ouattara, your Marcus Tavernier, for example, Philip Billing. And that's why I think that Bournemouth will not get enough credit for the run they've been on in recent weeks and their season overall, because yeah, I think Gary O'Neill, he started off his reign as Bournemouth manager after that 9-0 defeat under Scott Parker from Liverpool, which obviously lost Parker his job. Started off decent, you know, set them up to be resolute and focused on defending first and keeping clean sheets first and not conceding goals first, before he then obviously worked on the patterns of play of getting Bournemouth into the final third and getting them scoring goals on a consistent basis. And I think he's done it absolutely to perfection, Gary O'Neill, in terms of the way he set up this Bournemouth team since he took over. And I know Bournemouth fans aren't the biggest fan of him, but I think he's really changed a lot of their minds now in the last few weeks especially, and I think that he deserves the most credit out of absolutely everyone involved within Bournemouth for why they've stayed up this season, because I think he has been the main reason in terms of how he set up this team and how effective they've been under the guidance of Gary O'Neill overall since he took over. And if we go down and look at Bournemouth's last 9 games, which obviously was the form that has secured their safety so early in the Premier League this season, I think it was that obviously 1-0 win against Liverpool in mid-March that was the catalyst for this run of form, where obviously they played well and did the Bournemouth way, which was essentially to be defensively solid overall and yeah, to hit teams on the break, being direct and being efficient in their directness, and yet using the pace down that right hand side of Ouattara, for example, the pace of Tavernier, and the ball progression of the likes of Solanke and Billing, like I said as well. Then they go and lose 3-0 to Aston Villa, and you're thinking, right, that Liverpool game was obviously a one-off. Then they go and beat Fulham 2-1. You can say Fulham on the beach, but even still, they've shown in recent weeks that they are still fighting 4 points in the Premier League this season. Then they go and lose 2-0 at home to Brighton, which, to be honest, I don't see any shame in, as we saw yesterday. Brighton can slap up literally any team in this league, as they showed to Wolves yesterday, like I said. Then they go and get a massive win away from home against Leicester, which showed bottle, especially away from home against a fellow relegation candidate, and yet got a massive win there. Then they go and beat Spurs 3-2 away from home. Yes, I know Spurs have been pathetic this season, especially in recent times, but make no bones about it, for a team like Bournemouth, that is an extremely hard result to do, and yeah, I think they really fought for that one, and yeah, a massive win for them, obviously. Then they go and obviously get slapped up at home to West Ham, maybe a hint of complacency in that one, which is probably the main reason. A massive win in midweek against Southampton at St Mary's, again, another fellow relegation rival away from home, and then they go and absolutely hammer Leeds by 4-1. Again, I know Leeds have been really poor this season and have conceded a shitload of goals, especially in the last few games, but take nothing away from Bournemouth. They have deserved every single point they've gotten this season, and yeah, they massively deserve their place in the Premier League next season for how clinical they've been in front of goal, how much they've battled and fought and really wanted this survival run in the Premier League this season, and yeah, it looks like they have just about got it now, 10 points clear of Leicester in 18th. And yeah, I mean, the Bournemouth way under Gary O'Neill has been perfectly summed up in today's performance against Leeds, where they won 4-1 with having 43% possession, having less shots than Leeds, 3 less shots, but having 1.98 expected goals to 1.67 and creating 4 big chances. They missed 2 of them and still scored 4 goals, which just shows how efficient Bournemouth have been in the final third with those players, like I said, who I just can't shut up about, to be honest, because if we go through Bournemouth's team overall from back to front, Neto, the goalkeeper, I really like, has one of the highest save percentage ratios in the league this season and has been absolutely vital to Bournemouth's defensive solidity in recent weeks. Made some crucial saves and offers this defence a lot of confidence with how good he is, obviously, between the sticks. Then you have the back four, which Adam Smith, you say on paper at right back, only really in there because he knows the club. He's not the most naturally astute modern day right back, to be fair, but yeah, will work his socks off for this this team. Matthias Viña at left back, even though you've had Jordan Zamora, who obviously is better in terms of his ball progression. But Viña is not bad either in terms of, offering with Smith that elbow tactic where Viña is able to go forward, and Adam Smith, who's more efficient defensively than going forward, who's able to slot in next to Senesi and Jack Stevens to make a back three. Then you've got Jefferson Lerma, who's really stepped up in recent weeks, I think, and yep, obviously a decent ball winner. Not too bad in terms of his progression of the ball as well, able to screen that back four really well as he's shown in recent weeks. And although they have been missing Hamid Jr. Traore in recent weeks, and Joe Rothwell has slotted in next to Jefferson Lerma, making Philip Billing in more of a 10 role, I'm going to view this team from more of a perspective of what Bournemouth have done for the majority of the season, which is have Billing in that pivot next to Jefferson Lerma, but obviously with Lerma sticking back and yeah, basically screening that back four and protecting that back four. Billing has been given more license to drive forward, which is exactly what he is really good at, which is his ball progression from deep areas. And when he's in and around the box, he can be threatening. And yeah, the one thing I really do like about Billing is that he's able to play as a 6, as an 8, or as a 10 and do it all very well. Then you've got Ouattara on the right hand side, who, if you're a fan of this channel, you will know I'm a massive fan of Dango Ouattara. I think he's an absolute cheat code for direct teams and for counter-attacking teams, even though Bournemouth aren't necessarily by definition a counter-attacking team. But I think Ouattara is absolutely lethal with that pace down that right hand side. He's so good at carrying the ball with that pace and being able to find that ball into the box for the late runner of Billing or for Solanke, who is obviously smart in his movement like he showed for the goal today. Then you've got Marcus Tavernier on that left hand side, or Jayden Anthony, even Ryan Christie, who played today and offered you a little bit more efficiency in those central areas. But Marcus Tavernier, who's also decent in terms of driving forward and progressing the ball forward with his ability to carry the ball, and is decent in terms of his end product of creating chances and whipping balls into the box for the likes of Solanke. And then you've got Dominic Solanke up front, who has really grown into this Bournemouth side this season. Obviously missed a lot of the early parts of the season through injury, but has been massively impressive in my opinion in terms of his movement, in terms of getting into the right positions to score, and also his relationships with the likes of Ouattara, Tavernier and Billing, in terms of, like I said, his build-up play and the energy he offers out of possession as well, and his ability to drop deep and get involved in build-up play as well to allow those runs of Ouattara and Tavernier in behind. So yeah, obviously, like I said, I think Gary O'Neill deserves a lot of credit for the way he set up this Bournemouth team this season, because if you see in the early weeks of the season when Scott Parker obviously took them into the Premier League, it was almost like Parker wanted to set up this Bournemouth team to play a very similar style to obviously what they played in the Championship, which got them promoted last season, and be that little bit more expansive and a little bit more risky in terms of their play. And like I said, I just don't think that was going to work in the Premier League. We've seen time and time again from countless teams when they come up to the Premier League trying to play this possession-based style of football, and they just get absolutely slapped up left, right and centre. Gary O'Neill comes in, puts them back to the basics, makes them more resolute defensively, and makes them so efficient when they've got possession. And I think that's the main reason why Bournemouth have been so effective this season, is how good they are when they've got the ball in deep areas with those players, like I keep saying, who are able to progress the ball forward, drive from those deep positions and create chances, and obviously be clinical enough to score those chances to give them points. And yeah, Gary O'Neill deserves a lot of credit for that, because obviously that strategy does come from him. And look, whether Bournemouth will be able to stay up again next season, I think at this moment in time is pretty irrelevant, especially given the fact that the transfer window hasn't started yet, and Bournemouth could be able to make some good transfers in the summer to really strengthen their chances of survival next season and really be able to build more on what they've achieved this season. And to be honest, I just want to let Bournemouth fans enjoy themselves and enjoy the fact they will be in that pot for the Premier League fixtures when they get released in mid-June, especially given the fact, like I said, how everyone and their nan wrote off this Bournemouth team before a ball was kicked, myself included. So yeah, Bournemouth fans, sum up your thoughts for me on this one. How buzzing are you on a scale from 1 to 10? And yeah, leave a like on the video if you did enjoy. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, especially Bournemouth fans. Help a brother out. And yeah, we are looking to hit 3,000 subscribers on this channel as soon as we can possibly get there. And turn on that cheeky notification bell while you're at it as well, because yeah, those 3 things will take you a maximum of 10 seconds and will make my day even better. So yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video, and yeah, chat to you later.